All right, let's unpack this. Today, we're taking a deep dive into how to nail that transport planner interview.
Definitely a hot topic.
Absolutely. And
Right.
we've got a ton of resources from RoleCatcher to help us out, career guides, sample interview questions.
Even AI tools.
Yeah, to give you feedback. So really, everything you need to stand out.
Like having a cheat sheet.
Exactly. Let's say you're sitting across from the hiring manager and they ask, can you walk me through your experience with transport planning?
Seems simple enough, right?
It does.
Yeah.
But it's your chance to really make a strong first impression.
Definitely. So don't just repeat your resume.
Right.
Instead, think about the skills they're looking for.
Okay, so like problem solving.
Yeah, critical thinking, data analysis, all those good things.
Okay.
And then pick projects where you really, made a difference.
So instead of saying I worked on traffic flow studies, I should say something like I led a team that analyzed traffic patterns to improve flow by 15%.
Exactly. Quantifiable results.
Yeah.
Shows you can get things done.
Okay, makes sense. Now, what about software? They always ask about that.
Oh, for sure. What software are you proficient in? Something like that.
Yeah.
Focus on the ones that are relevant, the ones you feel confident talking about.
Okay, so if they mention traffic modeling in the job description.
You could say, I'm proficient in Visum, and then give a specific example.
Okay, something like I used it to reduce congestion in a complex urban environment.
Perfect. Shows you can actually use the tools.
Okay, so it's all about application, not just knowing the names.
And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can be a game changer. Imagine uploading your CV and the job description.
Oh, interesting.
The AI analyzes both, suggests keywords, even tailors your language to match the company.
That's incredible. It's like a personal career coach.
It is, and it goes beyond resumes. It can even analyze your practice interview videos.
Wow. What kind of feedback does it give?
Everything. Delivery, content, body language. Seriously. That's amazing. Okay, back to the interview questions. What about something like, can you describe how you would go about analyzing a transportation network? That seems pretty broad.
It is broad, but that's intentional. They're trying to see how you think.
Okay.
So break it down into steps. Start with data collection, like traffic counts,
Right.
surveys, GIS data. Then talk about how you'd analyze it to find those bottlenecks.
Congestion patterns, areas for improvement.
Right. And then what? Don't forget the so what.
Okay, so explain what I would do with the findings.
Exactly. Recommendations, how they would benefit the community.
It's not just about being technical, it's about solving real-world problems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now let's switch gears to sustainability. A question like, how do you ensure that transportation plans are environmentally friendly?
Definitely a hot topic these days.
Absolutely. So this is your chance to show off your knowledge of green solutions.
Okay, so things like promoting walking and cycling, public transit improvements.
Exactly. And don't forget about electrifying vehicles, reducing emissions.
Oh, and ride sharing.
Yes. And the social aspect, too.
Yeah.
Equitable access.
Right, making sure everyone benefits.
Exactly. So it's a holistic approach.
Okay, so we've got technical skills, problem solving, and a passion for sustainability. What else might they ask?
Let's see. How do you stay up to date with the latest transportation regulations?
Oh, good one. I'd probably mention professional organizations like the Institute of Transportation Engineers.
Perfect. Attending conferences, reading journals.
Maybe following some blogs and podcasts too.
Exactly. But give specific examples like, did you attend a recent conference on urban mobility?
Okay,
Or maybe you're part of a committee updating local codes. Those details really stand out.
good point. Okay, feeling more prepared already.
Good.
Now, for a slightly trickier question, can you describe a time when you had to deal with a difficult stakeholder? I'm guessing nobody likes talking about conflict?
No, not really. But it's about showing you can handle those tough situations.
It's okay.
Pick a situation where you successfully resolved a conflict. So instead of saying, this community group was always against our plans,
Focus on how you listen to their concerns.
how I incorporated their feedback and found a compromise.
Exactly. Highlight your communication skills and problem-solving abilities.
And frame it as a learning experience.
Right. What did you learn from it?
This is great. We're getting a real sense of what to expect. But before we move on, I'm curious about career progression in this field. What does RoleCatcher have to say about that?
They actually outline the typical career stages, from junior planner all the way to principal.
Oh, that's helpful.
They even give examples of responsibilities and salary expectations at each level.
So starting out, you might assist senior planners, collect data, do research.
Right. As you gain experience, you lead smaller projects, then move on to bigger ones. Eventually, you might even mentor other planners.
That's encouraging. A clear path for advancement.
It is.
Okay, ready for some more challenging interview questions?
Definitely. Let's keep going. All right, imagine this. You're in the hot seat and they ask, how do you prioritize competing transportation projects with limited resources?
Oh, that's a tough one. You can't do everything, so how do you decide?
Right. You need a framework, like a scoring system.
Okay.
You consider things like feasibility, potential impact, cost effectiveness, and how it aligns with overall goals.
So a project improving safety on a busy highway might score higher than, say, landscaping a quiet street.
Exactly. You got to focus on the biggest impact, especially when budgets are tight.
Makes sense.
You could even mention things like cost-benefit analysis.
Oh, right. Weighing the benefits against the costs.
Yep. Or return on investment calculations. Shows you're thinking long-term.
So data-driven decisions, not just gut feelings.
But data isn't everything.
Oh, right. What else is there?
Community preferences, they matter. Even if a project doesn't have the highest score on paper.
So if a neighborhood really needs a new crosswalk, that might get bumped up the list.
Exactly. It's about balancing those data-driven decisions with community needs. And political realities, too.
Right. And I guess involving stakeholders in the process can help avoid conflicts later on.
Definitely. Transparency and communication are key.
Okay, what about a question like, can you describe a time when you had to implement a transportation project under a tight deadline? Talk about pressure.
This is your chance to show you can handle the heat.
Okay.
Think of a project where you navigated a time crunch. Highlight your planning skills, your ability to delegate.
Okay, so if I was involved in a project to implement new bus routes before school started.
Perfect example. You could talk about how you broke the project down, created a timeline, coordinated with everyone.
Right. And what about those unexpected obstacles that always pop up?
Oh, definitely mention those. Delays, equipment breakdowns. How did you adapt? How did you keep things moving?
Problem solving on the fly.
Exactly. And don't forget the outcome. Did you meet the deadline? Were the bus routes a success?
Those details matter.
Absolutely. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. How do you manage risk in transportation planning projects? This one's all about being proactive.
Okay. What kind of risks are we talking about here?
Environmental risks, safety concerns, cost overruns, community opposition, even things like extreme weather.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is. But a good planner anticipates these things.
So I could mention conducting risk assessments early on, identifying potential problems and coming up with solutions.
Exactly, being proactive. You could even mention having contingency plans, those what-if scenarios.
Right. What if there's a major storm during construction? Or what if public opinion changes?
Precisely. It shows you're thinking ahead.
This is really helpful, thinking about all the things that could go wrong.
Planning for the unexpected.
All right, let's move to something a little less stressful. Can you describe your approach to stakeholder engagement? This one seems more about people skills.
It's about building relationships, fostering trust, creating solutions that work for everyone.
Definitely. So when answering this, I should think about how I engage with different groups.
Right. Community organizations, residents, businesses, government agencies.
How do I make sure everyone has a voice?
And that you're listening to them, even if their concerns conflict with the plan.
Right. It's about finding that balance.
And being open to compromise.
Okay, all of this is starting to click. But before we get too deep into these scenarios, I want to circle back to those AI tools from RoleCatcher.
Oh, yeah, good point. We talked about them earlier.
Can you remind us how the resume analysis works?
Sure. You upload your resume and the job description. The AI scans both and identifies those key words and phrases.
So it's tailored to the specific job I'm applying for.
Exactly. No more generic advice. It's like having a personal branding expert. It can even analyze your writing style, make suggestions to make your resume more impactful.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It is. And then there's the interview practice tool.
Right, the one that analyzes your videos.
Yep. You record yourself answering common questions, and the AI gives you feedback.
On my delivery, my content.
Everything. Even body language. It can pick up on those subtle things you might not even notice, like nervous habits, filler words, all that.
That's incredible. AI is really changing the game.
It is. But remember, it's a tool, not a magic solution. You still need to bring your A game to the interview.
Well said. It's like having a super smart assistant, but you're still the one in control.
Exactly.
Okay, we've covered a lot. Technical skills, sustainability, risk management, even AI-powered prep.
It's a lot to take in.
But there's still more to explore. We haven't even touched on those big picture questions about the future of transportation.
You're right. Those are the ones that really make you think.
And show the interviewers what you're made of.
Exactly.
All right, let's tackle some of those big picture questions.
Yeah.
The ones that really test your understanding of the whole transportation sector.
The ones that make you think.
Exactly. Like, what are some of the biggest challenges facing the transportation sector today, and how would you approach them?
They're not looking for textbook answers here. They want to see you can think critically, that you understand the complexities.
Right, so things like traffic congestion, air pollution, climate change, equity issues, those are all big ones.
Absolutely. And they want to see that you're passionate about finding solutions.
Okay, so if they ask about congestion, I might talk about things like congestion pricing, where drivers pay a fee to use certain roads during peak hours.
Good one. Or promoting telecommuting, flexible work schedules, anything to reduce the number of cars on the road.
And investing in public transit, making it more efficient and affordable.
Exactly. Give people options, real alternatives to driving alone.
And for air pollution and climate change,
Yeah.
things like electrifying vehicle fleets, encouraging bikes and scooters, maybe even stricter emission standards.
Those are great, but it's not just about technology. What about urban planning? Can we design cities that are more walkable, more bikeable?
Right. Make public transit the most convenient option.
Exactly. Change the whole mindset. Make sustainable transportation the norm.
Love that. And then there's the social equity aspect, making sure everyone has access to transportation.
Right. It's not just about getting from point A to point B. It's about connecting people to opportunity, to jobs, to education, to healthcare.
So true. Everyone, regardless of income or ability, should have reliable transportation options.
Absolutely. It's about creating a system that works for everyone. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. They often ask about your career goals, how this position fits into your aspirations.
Oh yeah, the classic, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Always makes me a little nervous.
Don't be. This is your chance to connect your ambitions to the role. Be honest about what you're looking for. Do you want to specialize in a certain area, like public transit or bike infrastructure?
Right. Or maybe lead big projects. Or advocate for policy changes.
Exactly. And don't forget to show enthusiasm for the organization. Mention something specific you admire about their work.
Okay, good tip. So if my goal is to become an expert in sustainable transportation for growing cities.
You could talk about how this position, maybe it's focused on developing a light rail system, aligns perfectly with your interests.
Okay, that makes sense. And finally, there's that question about mistakes. Tell me about a time you made a mistake. What did you learn?
Everyone makes mistakes. What they're really looking for is self-awareness, accountability, a willingness to learn.
Right. So, pick a real mistake I made. Maybe a miscalculation in a project. Or a miscommunication with a stakeholder.
And focus on how you fixed it, the lessons you learned.
Okay. Show that I grew from the experience.
Exactly. Turn a negative into a positive.
This has been incredibly helpful. I feel like we've given our listeners a real advantage going into these interviews.
I agree. We've covered the essential skills, the technical know-how, those tricky behavioral questions, even how AI can help.
And it's been inspiring to think about the future of transportation and how we can all play a part in shaping it.
Absolutely. So to everyone listening, remember to be confident, be prepared, and be passionate. The future of transportation is in your hands.
Go out there and make a difference.